Hi everyone. It's been a while since I've recorded a video, but I kind of woke up this morning with this urge to end 2016 celebrating my wins. This video is kind of about finding something that Whitney Houston was never able to find. So, you know how we always hear the phrase, we need to love ourselves? Self-love is the best love. I never really understood what that truly meant until just a couple months ago. I was in a relationship and it wasn't for my highest good. It wasn't that he's not a great person, he definitely is, but we didn't align spiritually. And I'm on this path of spiritually aligning in my truth, right? Living my truth. And I was knowing that being with him wasn't right. However, I had pushed and pushed and pushed to make this relationship work. And once I got what I wanted, I didn't think that's where I was supposed to be. Because I don't think we're actually supposed to be pushing so hard to make things work. It is supposed to be a natural, effortless flow. And you allow it to come to you. So I had actually moved into his office or his house in June, and I have never lived with another guy ever. Like, they've lived with me, but I've always had my own place. However, moving to a new city, Milwaukee, and starting a new business, not really knowing a lot of people, it was really hard for me financially to afford my own apartment and my office space. So I moved in. And even the day I moved in, I looked at him and said, I am not supposed to be here. Like, I know that this isn't where I'm supposed to be. So as time went on, I was getting more and more into my spirituality, my spiritual side. Not really religious, just spiritual, of finding myself and discovering that the universe is like talking to me and working with me. Down to the fact that after meditating and going for walks, deers would come up, and greet me for like 5 minutes. We had this standoff. I'm like, oh, hi, dear. How are you, dear? You know, I'm talking to it like, oh my God, there's a deer that's just like standing there with me. And what am I supposed to do? Until some people came walking up with their dogs, and the people got freaked out. And so the deer just trotted off happily. Then I had another encounter with a dragonfly doing the same thing. And dragonflies don't just hover. They fly everywhere. And this dragonfly was just like right there. Like, hey. And I'm like, oh my God. Now the dragonfly's doing it. And then all of a sudden other dragonflies came in. And that entire walk, no joke, was dragonflies. So I had wanted to come home and share these awesome experiences with my boyfriend, but he did not understand my spiritual path at all. So he finally was seeing that something was different with me, and I just said, look, I have a really big pull to go to Sedona and see what's there. And I've never been there, but I'm being pulled into that direction, and I need to find out what it's about. And he said, well, I wouldn't stop you from that. And I said, well, there's a good chance when I get back, I'm moving out. And he was like, if that's what you need to do, then do it. And I was like, okay. So I called my friend up. We booked our tickets, like no take backs. We're doing this. And it was like so awesome because everything totally worked out on that trip. Her dad even offered to pay for our car rental. We didn't really have like big plans. We're going to stay here. We just kind of winged it. You know, whatever we're going to do, we're going to do. There's no set in stones. I just need to find out what it is and why I'm being drawn to Sedona. So we get there, and one of the days that we had something planned to do, it got canceled because of the rain. So it was like this total whim of a day. And I had this beautiful experience while meditating. When we were coming back, I stopped or we stopped where these Native Americans were, where they were selling jewelry. I actually bought this beautiful bracelet from this Native American woman. And as I was talking to her, she was telling me about her husband that died, because I was sharing an experience that I had just had meditating with my boyfriend who had transitioned. And she was in pain, suffering, so to speak. And I said, I have my emotional healing stuff with me. Do you mind if I give you a healing? And she's like, I just got goosebumps. Something amazing is going to happen right now. Okay. So I went and get my stuff, and I come back, and I start, releasing some trapped emotions from her. And she all of a sudden stops me, and she looks right at me, and she says, what do they call you? And I said, Nicole. And she says, but they call you Nikki, don't they? And I said, yes. And she starts crying, and she started telling me that I came to her in her dreams. And I started telling her that she needed to get rid of the clutter in her house. She needed to get rid of things that, were holding on to materialistic value. She needed to do this and that. And I just kind of looked at her, and I was like, well, that sure shit sounds like me. And like, this is what I teach in my workshops. But it was this really amazing experience. And I thought, I don't really know what I'm doing, how I did that, and stuff. But so I gave her this hug, and she gave me this hug. She said from the moment she saw my eyes, she knew something, like that it was me, and that she was to stand her ground, because usually she would run off. So the other woman that was there, I gave her a hug. Well, needless to say, on the rest of our trip, it was like one beautiful moment after another of all these synchronicities. So the day before coming back, I knew my boyfriend knew something was changing. I didn't really talk to him while I was there. And he had asked if I was going to move out. And I just said, let me talk to you when I get back. I'm thinking this is something that really needs to be said in person. So I get back, and he comes in the room, and he's like, and I said, well, I don't think I'm moving to Sedona just yet, next year. And he's like, oh, okay, good. And I said, yeah, but I'm moving out of here. And he was like, what? And I said, I know I pushed for this, but this isn't where I'm supposed to be, and I'm moving into my office. Now, if anybody knew me, you would know, as a Leo, how prideful it is for somebody to say, moving into my office. My office doesn't have a bedroom. It doesn't have a kitchen. It doesn't have, I still get emotional. Silly. Even thinking about it. Because it was my surrender. I didn't think I would be in here that long. And silly. Okay. Back to the point. So, right after getting back, I said, I'll be out by the end of next week. And he just looked at me like, what? And he begged me to stay. And I said, I can't. I know that this isn't where I'm supposed to be. And it's not aligned to my truth being here. So my son came down. He helped me move my things. I moved out all my stuff. I left some stuff for him. I had felt like I was leaving him and his house better than before I found him. I had painted his house. I brought some of my furniture there. I didn't care. There were just things, right? So I was like, I was even deciding, like, you can keep that and you can keep that. Like, it wasn't about this is mine. Like, they were things. So when I had moved in, I kind of had the impression that I wasn't going to be in my office that long. And I started getting even more and more into my spirituality. And doing some meditations with people who are being drawn to what I've been doing. And my Kundalini energy was rising, and I started receiving more and more information, if this makes sense. Actually, even when I got back from Sedona, and I was still sleeping in the bed with my boyfriend, I remember him touching me and being jolted back into my body. I was actually seeing like a thermal image of, I thought it was him, and then I realized it was me coming back into my body. And I felt sick and nauseous after that. And I thought, what is going on? And so I started looking, I said, don't touch me when I'm sleeping. You know, I wasn't quite sure what was happening. And then I started realizing I was astral traveling, meaning in my sleep, I'm going off and doing things. That's why the Native American said I came to her in her sleep. So I started reading more about that, and I started reading like really anything I could get my hands on to start waking up to what it was I was being guided to do and what was happening. So one day, going to the gym, I would go to the gym because, again, I don't have a shower in my office. So I would get up every morning, go to the gym, and I was having a pity party about, I'm living out of my office. You know, I'm doing all these great things to help people, and yet I couldn't figure out financially how to help myself. Like, why isn't this working? I'm living in my truth. I'm being 100% authentic to who I am. And yet, it still isn't working. And then, this woman is singing in the shower, Whitney Houston. And, you know, they can't take my dignity, right? And I just smiled, like, oh, this is so funny right now. I gotta play the song as I get in my car. You know the song, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Right? Giving them a sense of pride. So I started realizing as I'm listening to the song in my car, crying. Tears, right? Like, I'm having this pity party, and I was like, wow. Here's Whitney Houston singing Greatest Love of All, right? It's all about self-love. She's beautiful. She sings it beautifully. She had all this money. And I have the one thing she wasn't able to find. And that was self-love. That was being authentic to who I am, living in my truth, and loving other people. And doing it with no expectation in return. Mastering being the calm in the storm. Regardless of what was going on around me. And it jolted me out of, who cares? Who cares if I'm in my office? I get to help people. I get to be me. Like, there's nothing different. Just being me and discovering who I am and waking up. There's a big one with that, waking up. And more information I kept receiving about this vision and this dream that I'm building, right? It's at first it was kind of like, oh, this is so great, light and airy, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I started attracting, because I was like this magnet of light that was attracting. All these people were kind of like coming at me, and somehow they were seeing themselves as a part of what I'm doing. And I can see them in it, and I know they're a part of it, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I would write down more stuff. I would get like, you know, these jolts of information, so to speak. It was like downloads or whatever, and it would come super fast, and I'd get really excited and I'd write down, and then there's this, and there's this, and there's this. And I got all these pieces, and I'm figuring it out, and more people would come. To where I have like a notebook of like 60 people that somehow are a part of this. It's like, And I sit here with this major vision, on how to help people find their inner child, get back to self-love, be their authentic selves, and heal from the inside out. And I know that all my hard work is going to pay off for something. And it's not for myself. It's not for the selfish interest of me. It's to help everyone else discover what I have found within me. You know, sometimes you do just have to surrender and just say, we're doing everything I know how to do, and it's in God's hands. And I know that divinely, this is going to work out exactly the way that it's supposed to. And just like all the people that I see being a part of this that are like, I want to be a part of that, keep coming to me. The right people to help fund this and bring it into fruition are going to come as well. So, you know, I guess the whole point of me doing this video was just saying, you know, you got to love yourself. You got to stop expecting other people to do what you couldn't figure out how to do for yourself. You got to let everybody else off the hook. You got to look within. You got to trust that even though you don't know how things are going to work out, they're going to work out. And if that means you have to break your pride and move into your office space because that's for your highest good, then that's what you got to do. Even if you have to record a video and cry, then that's what you have to do. Ironically, that same day that I had kind of broke down to my knees, I got a call from my parents who said, you know, we know what you're trying to do. Still. Okay. And both your sisters got married, and we paid for their wedding. So, we want to offer you that money to go build your dream. So they offered me, it wasn't a lot, it was $6,000. But that is what jump-started. I'm moving to Sedona. I gotta do this. Sorry, I'm sniffling and crying. Because I know I can help people get out of where they are and live authentically no matter how hard it is. Because I've been there. And I know that we shouldn't have to suffer. And we shouldn't have to go without money. Nobody should. We shouldn't have wars. You know, this is about doing the right thing. This is about living authentically to yourself and making the changes that need to be made. This business back in Milwaukee, where I see this, is right in the heart of where all the hurt is. And the reason it's there, that's why I want it there, is because I don't want people to keep building around it like it doesn't exist. You need to come to where the pain is and see it and help lift it. The whole reason I even moved to Milwaukee was to help lift the vibration of it. But I'm just one person. And though I can be the light at the end of the tunnel, we're a lot stronger together than we are apart. So if you find it in your heart to donate to the Healer's Wings, to believe in something that's bigger than yourself, then I ask you to do it. We spend money frivolously on stupid things and war and guns and, you know, to fulfill a void that's missing within us. Well, how about we just get to the root of the problem and we start supporting people who are trying to do something to help other people without knowing exactly how it's going to work. Just trust that somehow it's going to work. So this is my plea to invest in something that's bigger than yourself. And and trust that our light is going to light the way for your light and others. So thanks for watching.